YouTube, how's it going? Selena here, and this was my 26 to 28 week update. I decided to go on ahead and put all 3 of these weeks together because I've just recently had 2 appointments and I want to go on ahead and talk about those even though I'm not completely finished with my 28th week. But so the first thing I want to talk about is my fibroid, which I haven't really had any issues with the past 3 weeks, which is awesome. The only thing that I do notice is that if I'm laying or in an odd position, or if I'm turned in an odd position, then when I stand up it may hurt, but he adjusts or whatever, and then it no longer hurts after that. I have been super sleepy these past couple weeks, taking naps throughout the day like crazy, but then at night I have trouble sleeping, so there's that. Right now I'm going to the bathroom like every hour or so, and every time, like if I'm sitting or laying down for a long period of time, when I get up I have to go to the bathroom. So yeah, it seems like I'm using the bathroom around every hour 30 minutes. Hair. So I've been really lazy with my hair, especially since being up here in Ohio. And I know in the beginning, in my first couple of videos, it was like I changed from doing my hair every week to every 2 weeks, and then from every 2 weeks I put in mini twists so I wouldn't have to worry about doing my hair for a few weeks. When I got up here to Ohio, I took them out and put these in because they were a lot simpler to take care of. So pretty much all I do now is I wash my hair in the twists, and then I will go back and retwist up the twists so that they look a lot better. And then whenever I go out, I put them in a ponytail or I put on a hat to cover them up. And that'll probably be the way it is for the rest of my pregnancy because it's a lot simpler and I just don't have the energy to spend a whole day or even a half a day doing my hair. And this will also be really simple to take care of after the baby comes, so that'll be nice. Gas. My sister, I have my list right here, and my sister put stars around gas. I have been super gassy the last few weeks. And like the things that I read from the apps that I have, they say it's because he's moving more and getting bigger and all that stuff, so it's gonna cause gas. But I've been like super gassy and I can't even hold it in. One day I did try to hold it in and I got really uncomfortable holding it in. Like he did not like me holding in my gas, so I had to let it out. But that's something that I'm dealing with now. Luckily, it isn't anything that's bad to the point where the gas won't come out and it's like it's hurting my stomach or anything like that. So that's good. Fears. So as it gets closer and closer to being time for him to be born, I find myself getting scared more, especially about like labor and delivery and things like that, especially because you know, you just don't know what's gonna happen. And I'll go more into that in a little bit when I talk about my appointments that I had this week, because I put that on my list before I had my appointments because I was going to make the video before then. But since I'm going to talk about the appointment in the video, I'll talk about that a little bit later. But I know there was one day where I was watching the show called One Born Every Minute, and I believe like in week 26 I would watch it and I would be fine. It wouldn't bother me or anything. But then this past week I watched it and I just felt like crying. I just felt so bad. I just felt so scared thinking about labor and delivery. So I have laying down on here, but I forgot what I was going to say about laying down. I don't really lay on my right side that much. I lay on my back or on my left side, and if I lay on my left side, I put a pillow behind me so that I don't end up on my back, even though I always still end up laying flat on my back. So then I have the last two things on my list is pacifier and my appointment, but there are a few other things that I want to talk about. Well, now I guess I'll go ahead and talk about the appointment because everything else kind of like ties back to the appointment. So I had 2 appointments this week. One was like a regular checkup. They took my weight, they measured my belly and said that I was measuring a little small, so she wanted to get an ultrasound done. So when we scheduled it, we ended up scheduling it for today, and so that was done today, because she wanted to make sure he was still growing and things like that and still on track. And then I got the glucose test done, the 1-hour one, and I haven't got the results back yet, but I believe that they will tell me about those in my next appointment, which is in 2 weeks. So it was a pretty good appointment, and everything was good. So the next thing would be the ultrasound, which is what I had today. And in the ultrasound, everything went good. One thing that she said he was measuring like a few days off, but a few days is not that bad. Y'all, my mind is going blank here, and I just had this appointment a few hours ago. One thing she told me was that one of his feet is in my stomach, which would explain why recently I've had like, usually if I have acid reflux, it's only at night when I'm getting ready to go to sleep. And now it's like an all-day thing. Like I'm having issues with it now as I'm speaking, and it gets worse after I eat. And I think that his foot being in my stomach would explain it. And of course I've got pictures from his ultrasound, so here are a few, and I'm going to put some of these on my Instagram so that you guys can see them. So the link will be down below and you can follow me on Instagram. And he's head down, which was one of my fears that I had, that I was really worried about, because when I was first told about my fibroid, I was told that having the fibroid may keep him from turning, and so he'll end up being breached. He may end up being breached. So since he's already head down, I'm hoping that he stays in this position so I don't have to worry about anything else later on, because if he stays in the breech position, I don't know if they do it in the US, but it is possible to turn him, which I heard is painful. And then there's also C-section if they don't turn him, which I kind of want to avoid having to have. And so those were one of my fears that kind of amplified, especially since I didn't know which direction he was facing, but he is head down. So I'm really hoping, I know it's early, but I'm hoping that he stays in this position, and so that we don't have to worry about C-section or anything like that. During the ultrasound, because he is head down, and like because he's so low down, she had really trouble trying to measure his head, and he wouldn't move for nothing. Like she tried to move around my stomach or whatever to get him to move, but she was like, he's a stubborn little thing, he wouldn't move at all. So I'm pretty sure he gets it from both of his parents. So last thing that I'm going to talk about is like pretty much just the office where my appointments are at while I'm here. And there's this part of me that wishes that I would stay in Ohio simply for the doctors, because the doctor's really good, and I don't know what's gonna happen when I get to Washington. But one of the things that they gave me is a pacifier, a Nook pacifier. And one thing that I had just recently been wondering is whether or not I should give him a pacifier. So I wanted to ask you guys, what's your experience with a pacifier and giving your child a pacifier, and how early did you give them a pacifier? Were you breastfeeding or not? And you know how that affected the baby and things like that. One reason why I'm thinking of doing it is because a pacifier is a lot easier to get rid of or to break them of than like fingers or something like that. So I'm really leaning towards giving him a pacifier, but at the same time I'm not sure because I also don't want him to get addicted to the pacifier, and I don't want to get addicted to the pacifier because they say parents get addicted to it too, and they use it to just hush up the baby and all that stuff. So what's your experience with the pacifier? I like that I have this to be able to try it and all that stuff when he comes, and hopefully he takes it. So one thing that I one thing that I have to start doing, also that I was told to start doing since I'm in my 3rd trimester now, is monitoring the movement, which I'm going to start doing on Sunday. And today's what, Friday, so 2 more days before I start. But she gave me this chart, and what I have to do is twice a day, so once in the morning, once in the evening, count how long or time how long it takes for him to do 2 movements. He should do at least 4 movements in 1 hour, and if he does less than that, then it's cause for concern and I should call in. But I should also make sure that when I do it, it's when I know that he's active. So this one has a month's worth of a month's worth of whatchamacallits on it to help me keep track. And then, you know how when you first go to the doctor and all that stuff, they give you like a whole bunch of different papers. And I actually like the papers that they gave us a lot better than my other doctor. They gave me a list of all the different medicines and things that you can take and what you can take them for, which is nice to have when you're pregnant and there's only so many things that you can take. They gave me nutrition paper, so you know, just telling you how much you should eat a day, what's good to eat, what's not good to eat, and all that stuff, and what to avoid, which a lot of these things I knew already, but it's still something nice to have and something to, you know, go off of to help me when picking out snacks and things like that. And then the last thing that I like that they gave me is a schedule of their childbirth classes for pretty much this whole year, which is something that is nice to have. So I know when is a good time to schedule the class, and they tell you everything that goes on in the class. And because it's a small town, they probably only provide one class versus in bigger city where you've got different options of different classes and things like that. So that is awesome, and part of me wishes that just for, you know, this stuff and the way it is at the doctors, that I was staying here for the doctors, because I don't really know what it's going to be like when I go to Washington. But we'll see what happens with that. And so now the last thing I will do is my belly shots. And today I'm 24 weeks and 4 days pregnant, so this is that belly. So here's my belly with clothes on. As you see, my belly button's sticking out, but this is, I'm pretty sure this is the farthest it's gonna go out. It's still an innie, but I'm pretty sure it's not gonna go out any more than that. So those are the side shots, and he's like so really low. And then here is my belly bare. So my belly is a little lopsided. And I do have, I don't know if you guys can see, but right here there are stretch marks. And I haven't been using the stretch mark stuff as much, like every day, like I said I was going to. It's more like an every other day thing. So, and then one thing I noticed is that on this side there's like a little bit of fat right here, and then this side is like flat or whatever. But yeah, so that is my belly, and I will see you guys in the next video. So yeah, deuces. Talk to you later.